ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ओम शांति 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 प्रज्ञानाशुप्रतानै स्थिरचरनिकर व्यापिभिर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् स्थविष्ठान् पुनरपि धिषणोद्भासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वपिति मधुरभुं मायया भोजयन्नः माया संख्यातुरीयं परममृतमजं ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि यो विश्वात्मा विधिज विषयान् प्राश्य भोगान् स्थविष्ठान् पश्चाच्चान्यान् स्वमति विभवान् ज्योतिषा स्वेन सूक्ष्मान् सर्वानेतान् पुनरपि शनैः स्वात्मनि स्थापयित्वा हित्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् विगत गुणगणः पात्वसौ नस्तुरीयः।
Mandukya Karika, chapter 3, Karika 14.
जीवात्मनः पृथक्त्वं यत् प्रागुत्पत्तेः प्रकीर्तितं भविष्यद्वृत्त्या गौणं तत् मुख्यत्वं हि न युज्यते।
Further reasons to establish Atma is Advaya. Though Upadhi wise it appears to be Sadvaya, in reality it is Advaya. For this, further reason is given. For this, there is a Pura Paksha. We'll see in detail in the Bhashya that in Vedas itself, there are many statements which speak of duality. And you are insisting on non-duality. How is it? We both agree Veda is a Pramana. The Veda which is considered as Pramana, no doubt, at many places it says Atma is Advaya. But at the same time, there are many places where duality is taken for granted. Therefore, your insistence that Atma is essentially, in reality, Advaya, non-dual, need not be correct. For which the answer is being given. Let us see the, before entering to this Karika, let us see the Bhashya. Read Nanu.
ननु श्रुत्यापि जीव परमात्मनोः पृथक्त्वं यत् प्रागुत्पत्तेः उत्पत्त्यर्थोपनिषद्वाक्येभ्यः पूर्वं प्रकीर्तितं कर्मकाण्डे
अनेकशः
अनेकशः कामभेदतः इदं कामः अधः कामः इति परश्च सदाधार पृथिवीं द्याम् इत्यादि मंत्रवर्णैः तत्र कथं कर्मकाण्ड ज्ञानकाण्ड विरोधे ज्ञानकाण्डवाक्यार्थस्य एकत्वस्य सामञ्जस्यम् अवर्धयत इति अवधार्यते इति.
This is up to the doubt. Pura Paksha. It says, listen. Shrutya api. Shrutya api means even by Shruti. Shrutya api. In the sense like this. Look, the Purva says, we have not just imagined the duality. It is not our conjecture. Even Shruti says this. That is what it means. Shrutya api. What is that Shruti says? Jiva paramatmano prutaktvam. Prutaktvam. Distinction. One to be different from other. Between whom? Jivatma and Paramatma. Yet, whatever the distinction or difference between Jivatma and Paramatma, where it is said, Pragutpattehe. Pragutpattehe means before the Utpatti. Means before the Utpatti Shrutis. The Shruti statements which describe the creation. Utpatti, the creation of the Jagat. Pragutpatti. The explanation of this phrase, Pragutpatti, Bhashya Karika gives. Utpatyarthopanishad vakebhya purva prakirtam karma kande. Utpatyartham means the Shruti is now, the Upanishads are now going to describe the mode of creation. So that is Utpatyartham, Utpatyartha, Upanishad Vakebhya Purva. Before the, that is what the statements of the Upanishad which describe the mode of creation, before that, Prakirtitam, very well described, where Karma Kandi, in the Karma Kanda. The Karma Kandi in the Karma Kanda. For example, Chitraya Yajet Pashukama. A person who is desirous of Pashukama. Olden days, cattle, etc., was considered the wealth. With the in wealth in terms of cattle, horses, elephants, etc. Chitraya yaje. You should do yajaga with chitra yaga. Kaririya yajet vrishtikama. By kariri yaga, one should do the yajna for what? Vrishti. If rain has to be, for getting the rain, kariri yaga. Now see, person does something for getting something, duality is there or not, like that. Karma kandi. That is how it is said, Bhashya explains, anekashaha, in manifold ways, kama bhedataha, for different types of desires. for the fulfillment of different types of desires. How? Idam kamaha, adam kamaha iti. That is, as for jiva, one with desires of this, or other jiva with desires of that. The different entities, different jivas having different desires are provided with different means. Not that only one entity is there. So that is iti. This is as far as what jivatma is concerned. I mean, there are many. Now, distinct from the jiva, Shruti itself speaks of Paramatma, where saha dadhara prithvi dhyam. Saha, this is from Rut Samvita 10:121:1. Rut Samvita. Saha, Saha Hiranyagarbha. Paramatma in the form of Hiranyagarbha. Prithivim Dhyam Dadhara. Dadhara, sustained. So what? Prithvi, earth, Dhyam, Dihu, heaven. He sustained the earth and this is now see distinction. Paramatma different from the Jivatma. So like this. Ityadi mantra varna. This type of mantra varna, you have to add there. Prakirtitaha are described where in the Shruti. Not only that, this being so, Tatra means when the meaning of Veda at one place is ekatva, oneness identity, at other place anekatva, manifoldness. So that Tatra, this being so, means in Vedas, statements of duality, statements of non-duality are both available. This being the case, Katham, sir, how come karma jnana kanda vakya virodhi? When there being a contradiction between karma kanda vakya and jnana kanda vakya virodhi, these both have got equal importance. Jnana kanda vakarthasya eva ekatvasya. How do you uphold the ekatva, the duality of only jnana kanda? Why do you brush aside the karma kanda which speaks of duality? Why do you uphold the non-duality established by jnana kanda? That therefore ekatvasya jnana kanda vakarthasya eva ekatvasya samanjasyam, appropriateness. That katham has to be brought. Katham avadharate. How do you ascertain this way? When both types of statements being available in the Vedas, karma kanda, jnana kanda, how do you ascertain the non-duality described in jnana kanda, only totally discarding the statements of the karma kanda? This is the doubt for which the Karika gives the answer. Before entering Bhashya, let us see the Karika, take the Karika. Pragutpattehi yat jivatmanoho pruthak prakirtitam tat bhavishyad vritya gaunam mukhyatvam hi na yujyati. Pragutpattehi, before the Utpatti Prakarana, before the statements of Shruti describing the Utpatti creation. This is how Bhashyakara has taken. Anandagiri takes Pragutpatti as before gaining the Samyak Jnana, before gaining the Atma Jnana, Brahma Jnana. So, Pragutpatti. Both can be taken, but we stick to Bhashyakara only. Pragutpatti. Yat, whatever, Jivatmanoho Pruthaktvam Prakirtitam, elaborated, very at length described what Pruthaktvam, distinctness, difference between whom? Jivatma and Paramatma. Jivatmano, between Jiva and Atma. Or Jivatma and Paramatma. So whatever that is there says Tat. Tat means what? That Tat Pruthaktvam. That distinction, the difference between them is what? Bhavishad Vrittya. Bhavishad Vrittya means from the state or condition that is going to be established later. In the sense, from the standpoint of identity between Jiva and Atma, that will be established later. From that standpoint, it is what? Gaunam. It is secondary in nature. Mukhyatvam hi na yujyati. The ascribing to that Mukhyatvam, that is, the duality in reality is not proper. It is true in Karma Kanda, duality is there described in many ways. It is only taking for granted the state of ignorance of the Jiva, who is interested in the fulfillment of varieties of desires. Varieties of means are given as a stopgap arrangement until the Jiva develops Viveka, Vairagya, and takes to inquiry into one's true nature to discover it to be Advaya Atma Brahma. He is not ready to get this knowledge now. He has to be catered at his own level. And slowly he should upgrade. For example, you can't teach Vedanta to the people who have got hungry stomach, who are not getting 2 square meals a day. If you teach Vedanta, they will be communist. Give them the food first. Provide the means of earning livelihood. And when they reach certain level of their economic status, where they can earn their livelihood, etc. At the same time, they are available for thinking. Before that, you can't. Like that here, straight away, see, these people cannot be told that everything is one, etc. Not there is no duality, etc. No. That's why first and foremost step in spirituality is living a life in accordance with the Vedas, the Dharma Shastras. Therein, because his likes and dislikes have no role there. Do this because Vedas says. Don't do that because Vedas says. The discipline, mind is disciplined. As a result, past duritas, the sins of the past life, get annulled. They become ineffective. As a result, slowly the capacity of viveka, nitya viveka, atmanatma viveka, such viveka slowly dawns. this person is capable of ascertaining the objects and beings in the world in their right perspective. There is no superstitious belief that they have got the capacity to give me happiness, etc. He that means evaluates them in their in a right manner, thereby develop the vairagya. He discovers nothing in the world, including the heavens, can really make me contented, totally free from sorrow. Because to have any sense pleasure, the first capital that you have to invest is in terms of the body. Even Hiranyagarbha has to have a Sukh Sharira, though he has no Sthula Sharira, with the body. Body means Upadhi. Upadhi, inner nature, in the inner nature. It will depend on what? Sentience. All Upadhis are subject to birth, ending death, in between other varieties of vikaras. All these vikaras, Shad vikaras, are the sources of sorrow. All these you have ordered for enjoying sense pleasure of your liking, whether terrestrial here or heavenly. Without embodiment, you cannot have any sense pleasure. Means, for the sake of sense pleasure, you have ordered all the sorrows, including in terms of janma, marana, transmigration, which is inevitable with the body. Are you going to be happy? Yes. So long as you are impervious of the fact that you have ordered sorrow also. Not that you want sorrows. You scream when the sorrows come. You feel bad when the sorrows come. But you don't know that you have ordered for the sake of sense. By the life of dharma, with viveka, this vairagya also dawns. So therefore, in the karma kanda, this duality is there to provide the means for this aviveki to little, if that is what, progress at a higher level. But how prakirtam? How he will, in course of time, develop viveka vairagya, will take to inquiry and discover the identity of Jiva and Atma. Identity of Jivatma and Paramatma. So therefore, Bhavishyad Vritya, from the standpoint of the state or condition of future, that is in terms of identity of, from the standpoint of identity between Jiva and Atma. Gaunam, secondary nature. Shruti has no tatparya. Shruti has no purpose in establishing that duality is real. It has nothing to do with that. So therefore, tat, that prataktvam, that duality, mukhyatvam hi na yujyati. It has no status of being mukhya, means real prataktva. Jivas are different, Atmas are different, duality is real. That is not the purpose of those Shruti statements. Yujyate means it is not proper to say so. Only because Karma Kanda portion speaks of duality. It is from the future standpoint of making this Jiva discover his Swarupa of Advaya Brahma Swarupa. You see this Bhashya. See, this is why study of Vedas needs Mimamsa. Mimamsa means Pujita Vicharaha, a sacred inquiry to ascertain the purport, the Tatparya, what exactly the Vedas have to tell. So, Mimamsa. So we have got two types of Mimamsa. One, Purva Mimamsa, written by Jaimini, so the Jaimini Sutras, whereas other is Uttara Mimamsa or Brahma Mimamsa, Vyasa, Brahma Sutras. There to ascertain what is to be done, how it is to be done in a particular manner. For that sake, because there are contradictory statements in the Karma Kandas also, you have to cull all these and finally ascertain this is exactly what needs to be done. Because there are different types of statements. But take into account all those and then come to a conclusion. There are norms to do that. It's not just like arbitrarily you do that. In fact, a glaring case was there many years back. Satya Sai Baba had started what is called Veda Purusha Saptaha Yajna during Navaratri. It is to invite great Ritviks from all over India, from Banaras and all over the India. And among them, every year, a highly qualified person was the chief, like Brahma, chief officiating priest. What they do is that normal procedure. Before Yajna, they sit together and chalk out a plan of program. What is to be done, how, etc., etc. If there's like a blueprint is there, do. Like this, once they sat. In that case, that time, a particular yaga requires something, some material. How it is procured, etc. There were two opinions. Whether this is correct or that is correct. They discussed it in detail. Both argued for that, for and against. They could not arrive at a decision whether it should be done this way or that way. Finally, they thought, better let us ask who Satya Sai Baba himself. They placed before him their problem. Satya Sai Baba told a third way itself. Neither of these. They were still more perplexed, surprised. Neither of these. Then they ransacked all these things and found that is the way to be done. For which Mimamsa is necessary. So you can't just go by the picking of some statements for here and there for the Vedas. You have to ascertain, taking an overall picture of it. Like, see, our present high-tech medicine, they address a particular organ or a particular problem only, without taking into account the entire body as a one system, which Ayurveda does. Ayurveda takes for any problem, first everything is taken at once. So there is a joke in Bombay in a very, what is that, 5-star hospital, okay, not hotel. It might be that a well-known hospital. Some joke was there, Bypass was successful. The patient died because of renal failure. And this renal failure, not that the patient had renal problem. Renal means the kidney. This renal kidney failure was caused by bypass. Something must have happened. Blood might have gone there, etc., etc. To take on entire system. So like this, to ascertain what exactly is the final tatparya, the purport of Vedas, we have to take to Mimamsa. What we are discussing in this study of Bhashyas, whether Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads, etc., Brahma Sutras, etc., is this Mimamsa, inquiry, investigation, as to what exactly the Upanishads, the Vedas have to tell us. So that being the case, it should not be what? Tad mukhyatvam, that pruthakta is mukhya. The main purport of Vedas, nahi yujyate, to say so is not proper. It is not appropriate. This answer is being now explained by Bhashyakara. Read atrochyate.
Atrochyate yato va imani bhutani jayante yathagneः क्षुद्रा विस्फुलिंगाः तस्माद्वा एतस्माद् आत्मन आकाश संभूतः तदैक्षत तत्तेजोसृजत इत्यादि उत्पत्त्यर्थोपनिषद वाक्येभ्यः प्राक् पृथक्त्वं कर्मकाण्डे प्रकीर्तितं यत् तन्न परमार्थम्.
Says few samples of statements regarding the utpatti, srishti, the creation. Say, before these statements, whatever the duality that the Veda speaks of is not mukhya, it is gauna. Its meaning is not to say that there is duality, it is said in the secondary sense. So what are few the samples of quotations of utpatti, let us say. Atra uchyate. Atra means in this context, when the doubt or the purapaksha is like this, as we have seen, here is the answer. Yato va imani bhutani jayante. The samples, quotations of Utpatti Vakya. Taittiriya, Bhruguvalli, first Anuvaka. Yato va imani bhutani jayante ye najatani jivanti yat prayantapi samvishanti tad vijidnyasasva tad brahmeti. Yato va imani bhutani. That entity from which all bhutani, all living beings are born. Yena jatani jivanti, being born from which they live, continue to live. Yat prayantapi samvishanti. Yasmin, in the pralaya, they merge back. Know that entity to be Brahman. Now, bhutani jayante, pralayanti, that is continue. The jivanti, duality. But it is to point out the non-dual Brahma. Then Brihadaranyaka 2:120. Yatha agnehe kshudraha vispulingaha. Just as from a fire. Shudraha Vispulinga, small fire sparks, particles, they fly off. You've seen some wood while burning makes cracking noise, but small pieces of sparks, they emerge out. This means those Vispulinga, those fire particles are in their nature same as the fire. So also the Jagat, which appears to be born from Brahma, in reality is not different from Brahma, it is Brahma. But some seeming difference is there. Yatha Agne Shudraha, Shudra means minute. Vispulinga, again, Taittiriya, second Valli, Brahmananda Valli, first Anuvaka, second mantra. Tasmad vaye tasmad atmana akasha sambhuta akashad vayu ragni agnirapah admya prithvi prithivya oshadaya oshadibhyo annam annat purusha body. Tasmad vaye tasmad atmana, from the Brahma, which is not different from Atma, Pancha Mahabhutas, then vegetation, the food, from food the physical body is born. Sambhuta. Tadaikshata. Chandogya 6:2-3. Tat, Sat. Sadeva Somi Damagrasi. Aikshata. It deliberated to become the manifold Jagat. Tat Tejo Asurjata. And first it produced Teja. Teja here is fire. So you may wonder. The Ithir Upanishad speaks of space as the first that is created. Chandogya speaks of fire as first created. Udit speaks of 3 elements. There are 5 elements. These 3 elements by Upalakshana have to be taken as 5 elements. Not only 3 and others are not one, not that. But Shruti is not very particular about this. It is where here comes the role of Mimamsa. Anyway. So it created the fire principle. Asrujata ityadi utpatyarthopanishad vakebhya prak. Before such statements of Upanishad meant for describing the creation, Srishti Utpatti, before that, prak, pruthaktvam, the duality, we are told karma kande prakirtitam. Before such statement, the portion of karma kanda comes there. In karma kande prakirtitam, elaborately described. Yat, whatever they described, tat na paramartham. It cannot be taken in the ultimate reality standpoint. It is not totally true, but there is a purpose for which it is said so from the standpoint of Adnyaha, ignorant person who is riddled with many desires. And for such people, at their own level, some means are given. They need necessarily be in the Vyavaharika Jagat, dualistic world, wherein they are now presently. Na Paramartha. Continue.
Karma Kanda. Kim tarhi gaunam?
Kim tarhi? Then so what? What is their status? Answer, gaunam. These statements are what? To be taken as secondary in nature, not in their primary sense. Secondary. How? The Bhashyakara reminds of examples of space. Continue.
Mahakasha ghatakashadi bhedavat.
Like the Bheda, distinction, duality of Mahakasha and Ghatak. Seeming duality between total space and part space, which is not in reality, was told earlier, as per the illustration we are given earlier with respect to part space, etc. Bhedavat, for which to highlight that such usages are there in the world. Other example is given. Continue.
Yatha odanam pachati iti bhavishyad vritya tadvat.
Just like this statement, Odanam pachati. Now we should know this statement, meaning of this clearly. If we don't know what. See, Odanam means boiled rice. Odanam pachati means he or she, pachati means cooks. Digest also, but here cooks. He or she cooks boiled rice. Do they agree? You want boiled rice, for which you have to boil the rice, and it becomes boiled rice. But instead of saying what should have been done, Tandulan pachati. He or she cooks the rice. Tandula means the grain, rice grains. Rice grains are cooked and then become the odanam, boiled rice. But in the Vyavahara, we say like this, odanam pachati, that is, he cooks the boiled rice. How it is said so? Say, bhavishad vritya. That means from the standpoint of future, means that rice will get cooked and become the boiled rice. Tadvat. From that standpoint. Duality is no doubt told there. From the standpoint that finally it will be pointed out that what is there is only non-dual Atma Brahma. So we should know the methodology by which such statements are made to finally reveal the ultimate reality. Till then, because we are in the realm of duality, we will be required to use it up to certain point. Thereafter, we have to drop it. What remains is nothing but non-dual Brahma. Advaya Brahma, wherein even your words, Advaya Brahma, have no locus standi. This Advaya Brahma word also have no place there. Why? Beyond the words. Till then we have to use it. Otherwise, Mauna Vyakya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam. Dakshinamurti taught the Vashishta, etc. This is by Mauna Vyakya in silence. So this is the Dakshinamurti Dhyana Shloka. So that you see, nowhere, what is Maunavakya? Why have we taught, etc. was there? Nobody there. Someone asked Ramana Maharshi. He gave an explanation like this. What is that? Dakshinamurti, you are 18 years old, so young, Paramadhyani, was sitting under a banyan tree. Vashishta, Vamadeva, etc., great sages were passing. They saw. They could make out he is a Paramadhyani. They surrendered to him and requested for Upadesha. He started teaching. And there ensued big discussion. Means how, why, etc. they are discussing. Because they were not ordinary sages, highly learned sages. They wanted to have the ascertainment. What is the final truth? It continued for, they say, he said, for 10,000 years. Then Dakshinamurti thought, of course, he appreciated their knowledge, but he said, this won't work. They will not discover the final truth. So he said, he got lost in the Swarupa with Chin Mudra. Chin Mudra. Mudra is what a significance, no? In Bharatanatyam, etc., mudras are there. Those who know the nuances, they know what it conveys. For lay people, only one girl is what? Dancing, that's all. No. Somebody doing worship, etc., etc. Anyway, taking. What is a Chin Mudra? 3 fingers stand for Upadhis, gross, subtle, causal. Let's say body, mind, intellect, whatever. Disciplining them, making them integrated with the mind composed, withdrawn from preoccupation in the Vishayas, and then index finger, which points out Jiva, then thumb, which points out Brahma. One circle. Jiva, Atma, Paramatma, Abheda. You discipline your mind, intellect, of course, body is involved there. And such prepared mind discover this truth that Jiva and Atma are one. And he got lost in his Swarup. The sages were not ordinary guys. They had what is called as Krita Upasitva. They were great upasakas of Saguna Brahma. As a result, they had the command over that mind to withdraw in a trice from the Bhaya Jagat. When they withdraw, they got absorbed in the Swarupa. They discovered this is our Swarupa. This explanation was given by Ramana Maharshi. But the questioner asked, nowhere in the Shastras we find such explanation. Ramana Maharshi only said, he didn't elaborate much. Maybe, but it was so. That's all. We don't have further elaboration there. Maybe you said that it is not from Arishatra, but the fact was so. That is what he simply said is. So like this. So from the future standpoint, the statement is made in terms of duality. Like he cooks boiled rice. We have to make use of this. Otherwise, we said no. How many will be able to do that? There's one incident told from the Upanishads. A Mumukshu approached a Mahatma. And requested Mahatma, please tell me what Brahman is. Mahatma didn't reply. He just closed his eyes and sat. In fact, he got absorbed in the Swarupa. This Mumukshu, of course, Mahatma, he didn't want to disturb him. He was sitting there. After some time, the Mahatma opened his eyes, but didn't speak anything. The Mumukshu was waiting, he may say something. After some time, again that Mumukshu took a courage. Sir, please explain me tell me what Brahman is. No, I already told you. He said, I have already told you. You have not spelled out even a word. What he meant was, this is what Brahma is. What can I do for that? I can't describe you. Yato vacho nivartanti aprapya manasas. It is the one from which mind, along with the words, bounce back without being able to objectify it. So therefore, this is said so, bhavishad vritya. So that Bhashyakara gives us a piece of advice as to how we have to view such statements from the Shruti. Continue.
भेदवाक्यानां कदाचिदपि मुख्यभेदार्थत्वम् उपपद्यते.
Nahi भेदवाक्यानां कदाचिदपि मुख्य भेदार्थत्वम् उपपद्यते. In the Vedas, Upanishad, the Bhedavakyas, the statements which involve duality, Bheda duality. Na kadachidapi, never, mukhya bhedartham upapadhyate. Primary meaning is never possible. In the sense, the duality that is described there cannot be taken as the reality. It is said so for a particular purpose. Why it is said so? Are we not misguided? Do you not get confused? No, sir. There is a purpose. What is it? Continue.
स्वाभाविका विद्यावत् प्राणिभेद दृष्टि अनुवादित्वात् आत्मभेदवाक्यानां.
This is, see, take the statements of Atma Bheda Vakya. Statements of Upanishads, we speak of distinction of Atma like this. What is that? They are said so because take into account this factor. What factor? Swabhavika vidyavat. What here is Matu Pratyaya. Those people who are endowed with avidya, which is natural. With birth it has come. In fact, because of Vidya only you have taken birth. Prani Bheda Drishyanuvaditva. Because of this natural ignorance, the ignorant persons naturally take Atma to be different. Prani Bheda Drishti. The Atma, that is different individuals. Is Bheda Drishti, Bheda Drishti Anuvaditva. Shashti. Because of its Anuvada. Anuvada means restatement. Taking for granted what they have taken to be real for certain purpose. It is not real, but taken for its purpose. It is restated. Like that. This snake is a rope. When you have said this snake, you have taken for granted the wrong notion of the deluded person to be snake. You know for certain there is no snake at all for any time. All that is there is only the rope. But to make him understand, to take into account as what is what that is to be real, and then lift the ignorant person from his state of ignorance. So that is Prani Bheda Drishti Anuvaditva. This statement of such Prani Bheda Atma Bheda Vakyan. So you have to view the statements of the Shruti which speak of different Atma as if there is duality. Continue.
इहच उपनिषत्सु उत्पत्ति प्रलयादि वाक्यैः जीवात्म परमात्मनोः एकत्वमेव प्रतिपिपादयिषितम्.
Pratipipadayishitam. Pratipaditum ishtam. This is what needs to be accepted. What is that? Here. Here. What is that here? See, these things create problem. Here. Where? Here means what? You have to go to the Srishti quotations given by Bhashya. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yatha agne kshudra visunanga tasmadvati tasmadatma etc. what I told earlier, quoted earlier. In this context, Upanishadsu, in the Upanishad, and what type of statement they were? Utpatti pradayadi vakyaihi. Samples given, statements of Srishti, creation, pradaya, dissolution, vakyaihi. What is intended to be established is not duality. What is that? Jiva paramatmano ekatvam eva. Ekatvam, identity of Jiva, Atma and Paramatma, that alone is what? Pripadayishtam is intended to be established. Seemingly it appears to be duality. There is no tatparya in the duality. So what is that is? What is intended to be described is what? Non-dual nature only. For which that they speak of non-duality only is corroborated by some quotations from the Shruti, Tattvamasi, etc. We'll see that.
अस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्याय्येन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।